Well, today we have a pretty exciting interview. In fact, the first one that we're doing with a customer. So very excited to be chatting today with Shree Kalluri, who's the founder and CEO of Zerology, from Madison, Wisconsin. So Shree, welcome. Thanks for finding the time to chat with us.
Thank you, and I'm really glad to be here.
Great. So why don't we kick off by, I mean, the good news is we have the founder of the company here. So we get to get the real skinny on the business. So tell us a little bit about sort of the genesis for the business and the vision, which is kind of an interesting one, as we'll come to hear.
Sure. So by nature, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a tech entrepreneur. I've done a few technology companies. About 2017, I became intimately aware of transportation-related emissions, how they became the #1 cause of greenhouse gases. So I felt that I need to do something about it. So I switched to electric vehicles to kind of at least eliminate my contribution, but I was not happy enough with that. And in the next 2 years, I spent a lot of time thinking through how to solve this environmental emissions problem, what we have from transportation sector. And finally, about February of 2019, the dots connected in my head. And I realized the solution is ride sharing with electric vehicles. If you put more people in a vehicle at the same time, you're minimizing the number of vehicles on the street. And if those vehicles are zero emission vehicles, then it is a force multiplier. Mm-hmm. So that is the genesis of Zerology. It's a zero emission philosophy. How do we encourage people to adopt a zero emission living? How can we share rides rather than everybody commuting in their own personal vehicles every single day? How can we adopt more of electric vehicles? And that's where the whole thing started. And February 28th of 2019.
Wow. And I hadn't realized it was that recently started the business. So you have come a long way since then. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about the shape of the business as it stands, sort of early 2020.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So once that idea was clear, I was looking at what is the big first step what we can take. How can we really create a great impact right away? That's when I realized that there are two taxi cab companies in Madison, which provided shared rides. They do a fixed price, zone-based fares with shared rides, multiple people who are not in your immediate family circle sharing the rides. I thought, what better than partnering with one of them? So about July timeframe, immediately we were able to enter into an agreement with one of the companies called Green Cab. And by October 16th, we were able to officially launch along with the deputy mayor and lieutenant governor. We had a big launch. What we did is we partnered with Tesla. We acquired a few Tesla Model 3s. The reason for that is they're the ones who, at that time at least, the best that are available in terms of the range. And I had personal experience with Tesla, so we went with a bunch of Teslas and officially launched it on October 17th. 23rd vehicles were on the street. And that was October. By January, we had about 35 vehicles. And then that led to, clearly it was working. We were able to increase the ridership. We were able to create a reduction in a lot of emissions. And so February, we went and acquired them. And so that we can manage all their operations better. Mm-hmm. And also we wanted to help to improve the technology as well, because we wanted to reduce what you call deadheading or cruising. If you look at Uber and Lyft, there is a constant complaint that quite a bit of their time, the drivers are driving without a passenger. We wanted to minimize that. That's where we're focusing a lot with the technology. I come from logistics background as well, mm-hmm. So that's what we're trying to solve. Then another opportunity presented itself in March. The other rideshare company in Madison decided to shut down shop after doing this for 42 years. The gentleman who was running it decided he can't, and there was nobody else he could pass it on to. We embraced that as well. We integrated all that operations. So today we are doing quite a few rides in every single day before the COVID. Then we can talk about the impact of COVID. But interestingly, there's a lot of social goodwill towards us. People appreciate what we are doing, to the point where when I ran the numbers in middle of March, by the time from October 24th to in the first 130 days, we did 750,000 miles in zero emission vehicles. Right? It feels fantastic that so many gallons of, probably that is closer to about 40,000, 45,000 gallons of, 45,000 to 50,000 closely gallons of gas we have not used, right?
So
So
you're contributing
that's why
to the negative value of oil at the moment,
Mhm.
which is probably
That's
not
an
a bad
interesting
place to
one,
be.
right?
Yeah.
The economic impact is an entirely different thing, but environmentally, we feel that's how we were able to create a big impact in a matter of less than a year of incorporating the company. I incorporated the company in April. And by this April, we had acquired 2 companies. We were transporting, at least before April, we were doing March about 500 rides a day. Now, April onwards, we were supposed to do probably twice as many. However, because of the COVID, the right now the ridership is pretty low,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
you know, across the board.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to you. You have the efficiency theme, so sustainability certainly, but the efficiency in terms of the way you run the business. You talked about, for example, the Tesla fleet, and I know, you know, we're our Trov's contribution, if you like, is driving efficiency on the assurance side. We're
Absolutely.
actually using that data coming off the Tesla vehicles, so. So very sort of very progressive way of structuring the business. So you also alluded to, for those watching this back in the future, we're sitting here late April having the conversation, and so we're still in the COVID situation. So it'd be great to hear a little bit about how that's impacted the business, how you guys have sort of responded to the situation.
Absolutely. But can I go back and your comment? I want to comment on one thing about the insurance.
Sure.
What Trōv does is actually phenomenal. It is really good, because what happens in any traditional transportation sector, there are 3 levers. One is the vehicle acquisition cost and maintenance and operating cost. Second is the charging infrastructure when you're looking at electric vehicles. Third is insurance. Insurance is really a big part of the transportation sector.
Mm-hmm.
By having dynamic insurance concept, what Trōv does, it's phenomenal that you can recognize when the vehicle is stable versus vehicle is moving and coming with the dynamic insurance. It is a game changer, and I truly believe and hope that you'll be phenomenally successful and everybody will work with you guys. Okay,
Well,
that's my compliment to you guys. What you're
well,
doing.
thank you. We'll take that.
Yeah, absolutely. It is the need. So the COVID situation, right? All of a sudden, the world changed in the last 8 weeks, right? Nobody expected this kind of a dramatic shutdown of economies and lockdown of people and homebound, and you're not going anywhere. This has created a lot of challenges. And for us too, all of a sudden the ridership evaporated, right? People are not riding the vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And we looked at it and say how we can help with this situation and how around sustainability, financial, economic sustainability, because we want it to be around. So that is where we recognize we can help more with not only the non-emergency medical transport, but more about food deliveries and package deliveries. That's what we did, is we shifted our focus, working with farmers to get the groceries and to the restaurants. And now we are talking about partnering with another organization who is doing deliveries for food pantries. Mm-hmm. We partnered with a Food Fight, which is a group of restaurants in Madison. We're doing regular deliveries. In order to do that effectively, we have to institute a lot of safety measures, mm-hmm. right from using medical grade disinfectants and having wiping down after every ride, after every delivery, getting protective equipment for our drivers so that they're being as safe as they can be. So like that, so economy-wise, if you look at it, the papers, Uber, Lyft, every transportation provider, the business might have dropped anywhere from 60 to 70% in the last few weeks. But ever since we switched to the deliveries, we are seeing it's gradually, it's not dramatic. We're nowhere closer to where we were before. Mm-hmm. However, I'm seeing the trends of recovery. And my hope is gradually, as our governor said, it is like turning the dial. As slowly more businesses will start allowing more individuals to come to work, mm-hmm. our hope is that it will be better. Meanwhile, we're hunkering down, developing the technology and optimizing the technology as much as we can, using this time to come out much stronger when the economy comes back to the new normal.
So you and I, just before we started the interview, were talking about an interesting sort of byproduct of the situation, which is with us largely sheltering in place, we're seeing the environment bounce back a bit,
Quite a
which
bit.
is an interesting one, and it kind of aligns with your goals. So maybe I'll tie with maybe a last question
Yeah.
of little bit of a prediction here.
Okay.
So we're getting a sense of what it could be like.
Yes.
But predict for us what we might carry forward out of this. Fast forward a year or 2 years or whatever you think. I mean, how do things change, and what do we learn, if anything, from the current situation?
You're very right on. As challenging the current situation is, it has almost taken away 35% of the emissions in many economies. China, Germany, US, everywhere, right? When people are not driving, all of a sudden you can see the night sky in Los Angeles, right? And no smog in China. Who would have thought, right?
Yeah.
So that is what we are seeing, which is quite fascinating to see. The way I look at it is, this is an indication of what it could be. The
Mm.
biggest lesson what we could take from it is, this is possible. However, the way we got here is not sustainable. The moment economies started opening back up, it will start coming back.
Yeah.
However, few countries have done an amazing job of starting to shut down their fossil fuel power plants and others. So this is an opportunity. Then to a point about what it will be in the next year or two, this is where I think of never go a good crisis to waste, never
Mm.
let go a good crisis, right? So here, Germany and other countries are already talking about, and US did this back in 2009. We had to help our automobile industry. We had to rescue them. We bailed them out. So we almost will have a situation similar to that, where they need to be. I would view that as an opportunity.
Mhm.
Instead of that money going to fossil fuel burning cars like internal combustion vehicles, if the governments are helping the economy to move forward with car purchase or fleet companies, I
Mhm.
would see a possibility, and I'm seeing evidence that some countries are already moving in the direction, require that money to be utilized to bring in more electric vehicles.
Mhm.
If you are helping the utility companies, help them to move towards sustainable energy like wind and solar. So
Mhm.
this is a great opportunity for us, because every government, every country has to invest in the recovery. When you're investing in the recovery, don't do the thing what we have done before.
Yeah.
Let's use this recovery as a great opportunity from what we are seeing, the environmental benefits. Now, if you get the power plants to be more sustainable energy sources, and if you get the vehicles to be more sustainable energy consumers, I think this is the greatest opportunity what we have. And this will completely fast track. We no longer need to talk about 2040, 2050, 2075. We can talk about 2025, 2030
Yeah.
to become fossil fuel independent. I think this is a great opportunity for us to step up, for the governments and the leaders to leverage this opportunity and really change the environment for the better.
Yeah. Wow. It's a brilliant response to end the conversation on an optimistic view. I know, many of us are it's tough for a lot of people, but it's nice to know and have a visionary like yourself able to sort of paint the picture of optimism. So thank you, Shree. Really appreciate you taking the time to chat with
Thank
us.
you, and I greatly appreciate this opportunity to share my thoughts.
Thank you.
Take care.